and welcome to the Rugby Bits Pod. And today we are joined by Jared. Hi, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, and you, Shaun. It's been a while, or it definitely feels like it's been a while.
It's been ages, and Thala's going to join us a little bit later. But Flip, it's been long, man. We had a failed podcast recording. I think I'm going to take the blame. Well, I don't think I am taking the blame for that. Stuff went tits up on my end and spoiled the whole pod. So thanks to Duran for trying to save it, but he couldn't. He saved so many of our pods as it is. So it was inevitable one would fall through. And then we missed last week, and it's just been crazy. Even this week, trying to get stuff together. So sure, we got it going. Tyler's busy fighting through some technical issues on his side, and then he'll pop in. But Jared, a good weekend of Champions Cup rugby. Just a little brief intro with Champions Cup and Challenge Cup for the South African side. You happy, unhappy?
Yeah, I think it was a good weekend. I even put it out on Twitter that I thought it was a good weekend. And from what I think we can take away from it is that, it's not going to be easy sailing in Europe. And the Storm has found that out this weekend. But I think they were well aware of what was coming at Clermont. And big ups to the Cheetahs as well, picking up a decent result. And the Lions came close, but no cigar, as the saying goes. Huh?
Yeah. We'll dive deeper into the South African side, specifically in the Champions Cup, and we'll touch on the South African side in the Challenge Cup after we tackle something that we've even missed a pod before. Our long wait was our first phase, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I had so much fun thinking of different, trying to find images for players to put them up. I really enjoyed it. But this week's first phase is name a rugby player and what his occupation would be in an alternate universe. And we had some absolute cracking replies. But Jared, you've got a couple of goodies.
Yeah, so my standout one is that I believe Ardie Severe, even in this universe, would be a good salesman. I mean, he seems to sell so many people with that ridiculous dummy that he should be what we can go through the cliches that he could sell ass to an Eskimo. And yeah, so I think that's pretty straightforward. The other one that I could probably try a wango is that Roman Intermac would be some sort of serial killer. I've spoken in the past about him being a psychopath, and he has extreme levels of calmness. Yeah, like nothing seems to faze the dude. So I don't know how you'd make money as a serial killer. Maybe a hired gunman or something like that. But he would find a way. He would find a way.
Yes. I had a couple of some images of players. That's not your general run of the mill image, like sort of non-playing image. But there was a great one of was Aaron Wainwright. He looks like a barber from Bree Street. He has moustache and his glasses on. But the one that I went hunting for, and everyone will know, Andy Good, the man with the skullet, ex-Sharks and England fly half. Still potting at the moment, pretty outspoken. But he just looks exactly like the man in the corner at the pub, at the local, ordering a pint, sits down every day at 4:00, has a beer. So he's my one. Sorry, Aaron Wainwright. I just found my tweet now. It wasn't a barber. I said he was a mixologist. He had that nice little moustache.
Oh God.
You could go then order like some 3,000-year-old cocktail, and it'll be made with like feathers from a peacock that doesn't exist anymore and shit like that. So
yeah, you chose the perfect image for that one.
Yeah. when I looked at it, I was like, nailed it. Rian Lowe, Ringo, he's got a great YouTube channel on rugby, and an unbelievable look at rugby. Ringo is just put a double cab Isuzu Bucky, and he goes John Smith. Brilliant. Thomas, who we had on the pod that I crashed from France, Thomas Corbett, was such a great pod, and we can't wait to have him back on. But he's got a picture of Rory Cockett with his arms out complaining. And anyone who's watched Rory Cockett will know that look. And then he just goes, seagull. Oh, lovely. Who else we got here? Dylan Jack, also friend of the pod, Sia Khaleesi, the public protector, and then Eben Etzebeth, the public protector's protector.
The other one that I loved was Michael Hooper being a surf shop owner.
Oh, absolute! That by far is the best one. That was by far the best one. I'm trying to think who it was Brett McKay. Brett put it on from Raw. Michael Hooper, surf shop owner, also a great picture. We've got Thomas also, he put a couple through. Nemani Nadola, nightclub bouncer. I mean, Nemani's massive, but he's got a picture of him holding a full-grown human being like it's nothing. Who else we got? Makazolo Mapimpi in his awesome threads, fashion designer, aka Zoolander. That's from Sean Riley. Your gift, Jared, on Fuff de Clack from Martin Princely goes, Fuff de Clack, gymnast.
That one's definitely fair. Oxen Chair is a bakery owner. I also love that. Or cake connoisseur.
And a sly little punt there, but Ox he liked that tweet. I love it. Thanks, Ox, the cake master. You'll love it. Yeah, but it's a bit professional wrestler. Another one from France. How do I pronounce this, Jared? Boucherie Ovalie, the top website and blog in France, all about rugby. I just don't know how to pronounce it. Please forgive me, guys. I apologize, but he's got. Yeah. Lionel Boxy's international assassin. He's got like that linen suit with the hat on. Also good. Andre Geel, Believe in a Polo, prop. Oh, that was amazing. Loved it.
No, that's fantastic.
Who else have I got you? And then I saved the best for last, but Christian Fowl, he just wrote there, Lukanya president.
Yeah, fair
Can't
enough.
argue. Guys, if I missed you, I'm so sorry, but I absolutely loved it. It brought me a hell of a lot of fun and laughter. And we've got a couple more of those rolling through. Every week we'll do a first phase. And I'm saying that more too, so I can commit to it and make sure that we roll it out. But yeah, please keep an eye on our socials for first phase, but thoroughly enjoyed that. Okay, Jared, let's get tackling the Champions Cup. So the first round of the Champions Cup ran this weekend. It's history being made if you've been living under a rock, but the South African sides made their debut. Champions Cup for rugby lovers is for me, being on both sides of the southern hemisphere, Super Rugby growing up, and then I've been following Champions Cup for a while. Champions Cup is probably the old format. It got me to fall in love with. Is probably better and a little bit more ruthless than Super Rugby. It was they have changed the format since COVID, which I am still undecided about whether it's the best shot or not. Okay, there we go. Thanks for that, Jared. So just in the past, the previous format, there were 6 pools. First in every pool. No, there were 6
first
pools.
Two. Yeah, first in every pool, and then the next 2 best.
First 2 in every pool, and then the next 2 best third places. And sides, like, you had to win. You must win your games, your home and aways. It was like it really got crazy. So this format allows you to slip up every now and then and still be in contention. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, they're expanding it. We know from Super Rugby days that expanding is not necessarily the best thing. Incorporating new teams but keeping the same numbers is possibly the best. But we'll see how it goes. Now that I've finished bashing the thing that we're going to talk about, just a quick one. So Champions Cup is the best from the URC, the best from the Premiership, and the best from the top 14 play each other to be the champions of Europe / Africa. And yeah, we're going to jump straight into the South African games. Jared, the Sharks at home to Quins, and this must have been a great game for you. The Sharks ran away 39-31 winners, but Andre Esterhuizen had a great game. So you basically were win-win, right?
I'll tell you what. It was a bit hard sore to see Andre scoring 2 tries against the Sharks. I will admit that because I do love the guy, but the Sharks are more important, and it didn't feel right him scoring against them. Luckily, he didn't go overboard with the celebrations or anything like that.
Or win the game.
Yeah, that too.
But just to fill everyone in,
performance from the Sharks.
Yes, the Sharks played very, very well. Cohen Bosch at 10, Buddha Chamberlain at 15 is probably the big talking point, besides the other big talking point, and that is Makazolo Mapimpi is back and he's bad. He had a great game. But the Sharks also played a large chunk of that game with only 14 men. Or by a large chunk, I mean the last 20 minutes. Oxenchair got sent off after 59 minutes. Before that, 2 minutes before that, Bonambi got a yellow card. So the Sharks were under the pump a little bit. But, it was a great game all round by the Sharks. They fell off a little bit at the end, which they are either not pitching up or they're falling off. So, but I think in all, it was a great performance by the Sharks. Van der Kolk scored a wonder try. He scored an incredible try from nothing, and the man's got gas and he fights hard for things. But all in all, a great result. The Sharks have been under the pump for a year, 2 years now, and they really performed on Saturday. They fell off a little bit, but I think this is that kind of watershed moment where the Sharks almost like realize they're like, okay, we know what we've got, what we're going to do. We need to now just start stringing it together. And even though they fell off a little bit at the end, and by no means will Neil Powell like that, I've almost had visions of them pitching up to training on Monday, just told to put their boots aside and sneakers and done like a 35K run and think about what they did wrong, because he's quite ruthless. He wants the best from everybody, but to do it against Quins in that way, and Quins love a comeback, and they did come back, and you can argue that the comeback was because of the cards and all that, and the Sharks being tied, but phenomenal game, great result. That's basically what you want in your opening game of the Champions Cup.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was a strong performance overall from the Sharks. Yeah, like you say, Quins don't give up very easily. They're always right there till the end of the game. And yeah, things are looking up for the Sharks under Powell and Jesse. Can we talk about the Sharks scrum, because they absolutely annihilated Quins? And to be fair, Quins have a decent pack. Like, they are no pushover. They got one of the better packs in the Premiership. Like, their attacking play is always spoken up, but like when you've got Boko Low and Joe Marler in the front row, like, that's nothing to like joke about. That's a serious players. And I think the only time the Quins actually got any kind of upper hand was once the Sharks had lost Ox and they took Carl Usadi off. Yeah. And it was Kiro that I think came on and absolutely monstered the Sharks for one scrum, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So Carl Usadi was incredible. I did put out the Rugby Bits South African Champions Cup Team of the Week and got a lot of heat for not putting Sadi at 3. And I just want to say, for the record, one of the main reasons behind that was we had so many, well, I had so many Sharks players in that team already. Thought I had to give another South African a bit of love. I most certainly picked the wrong guy not to put in the side, because Carl Usadi should have been the first name on the team sheet. So my bad. I'll take that. But
it was. You must always remember the words from Donnie Craven. You always pick your starting tight head first, and then your second one is your reserve tight head.
Exactly. I've learned my lesson. I'll most certainly be taking that forward. But yeah, so I also thought, so Erne Herbst also I thought had a good game. Funny enough, is last week he really had a good game. I've been keeping an eye on him. Someone who's really flown under the radar. He's gone to Quins now and are really performing in the lock department. Probably had a good game. Khaleesi, Chatuka, and Buthelezi were great. Khaleesi's in phenomenal form, as we all know, but they almost seem to be working out that balance quite nicely. Etzebeth just carrying on. But Jaden Hendrickse, wow. That pass, the vision. I like, what was it, a year ago? And also when we under 20s played a couple of years back when he played with
Nahamba.
who's the other 9? Sanela Nohamba. Sorry. Yeah. When he played, I was like, Nohamba's definitely got the goods. I don't think Hendricks has got it. Okay, I was wrong. He's starting to come into his own, play his own game, sort out, settle everything. He has moved streets ahead of Sanela Nohamba, just like everyone said he would. I obviously wasn't seeing as much as everyone else or blind to it, but flipping incredible game. So yeah, so Jared, so where to from here for Quins? I mean, you're not out of the Champions Cup, but you reckon? I mean, I suppose it's really hard for them to come to South Africa and do this straight up and face a Shark side that really hit their straps in their first game.
Yeah, the thing is that we must also remember that Quins didn't have Marcus Smith. Now, Tommy Allen is a very good fly half, but he doesn't quite run that attack quite as well as what Marcus does. And they also had a thing of playing Tommy at fullback and Smith at fly half, give them that dual playmaker with Tyron Green still out. So I think Smith will definitely make an impact once he's back. And yeah, pretty much. I don't think it's over for Quins, but it's certainly they certainly still in with a shot, but it is going to be difficult. I think last year some teams went through with winning one game, drawing another, and losing another. So one loss does not mean you're out. So that's the other thing with these.
So just a quick fill in. The way the Champions Cup works, there are 2 pools. There's Pool A and Pool B. There are 12 teams in each pool. The top 8 go through to the round of 16. Okay. Then 9 and 10 will qualify for the Challenge Cup. So they go straight into the Challenge Cup playoffs, and 11 and 12 fall away. So as it stands now, after Harlequins lost, they're actually still in the Challenge Cup. So there is plenty still to do. I think if you get 2 bonus point wins, you're probably in with a good shout of cruising and making it through. But yeah, okay, Sharks. So rating, quick one, a quick tap. Sharks rating out of 10.
Oof. I'm going to go 8. A little bit, a point taken away for Ox's red card. He'll be just as disappointed as everyone else about that. And another point just because I think they didn't really step up as well as they probably could have when they went down by a red card. But I still think it was a good result overall, considering the inconsistencies the Sharks have had over the last 2 months or 3 months or whatever.
I'm going to go with a 6. That was my gut feel, was it's a 6. But that was just how they fell away and not finishing things off. So, but yeah. Let's jump on. Next game.
Take Neil Power out of the equation, and you talk about 3 months ago when Shaun Everett was in charge, and I told you that the Sharks claimed a bonus point Champions Cup victory over Harlequins. Would you have been surprised? I think you would have.
It's only been 1 week.
But that's what I'm saying. If you throw it back in that context, good one.
The thing is we always knew
you take that.
We always knew
you take that as a Sharks fan.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Hello. How can you just dive
coming in at the side of the rack here?
Richie McCaw. Jeez. Okay, Thala, quick tap. What do you give your rating for the Sharks game? quick tap for the Sharks.
Yeah, I agree with Jared. I think it's 8 out of 10. I think just in context, decent performance, tidy, but yeah, still have a few gears in them. I think if, I don't think their best players played, brilliantly.
Okay.
Pepsi obviously had a good game, for example.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Thala, I'm welcome, and I'm so super.
They also
glad.
didn't have Thomas du Toit.
Yes. And Lukanya Arm. We can go on forever, but that was meant to be a quick tap. That was a quick tap, and then a quick tap retake. Thala, you've only just missed out on the Sharks run up. We've still got the rest of the South African sides in the Champions Cup, so you haven't missed too much. But welcome. I sent my apologies to the Dirt Trackers for destroying our last pod, and then we can blame Eskom for last week's one. But jumping straight back in now, Clermont versus the Stormers. A bit of a bitter pill to swallow for the Stormers, I feel. I think their fans and everyone expected a little bit more out of them, and they didn't deliver. What I will say, though, is it was just really, I don't know how else to put it, but it was just really a shit performance by quite a few players. And it's nothing really to worry about because it was just it was like a mulligan almost. It was one of those games where you just pack it up and you're like, okay, we don't even need to review this. Let's just carry on doing what we were doing because it was just one of those crap ones. Thala, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, from what it sounds like, I think the Storms were a bit immature in just how they managed the game. I think you need to come with a little bit of a different type of game plan when you're playing away, in a place like Clermont or somewhere like that in the Champions Cup. And it did sound like that the Stormers didn't really manage the game after they went ahead. And then Clermont was able to just put the pressure on them, and it was almost like those classical Clermont performances that we've seen for many years, even though this current vintage of the Clermont team isn't as good as it's been. But yeah, I think someone like Manie Lebok will learn a ton from a game like that, into how to just put the pressure back onto the team and onto the opposition, instead of trying to be as ambitious and attacking as you can be in December in Cape Town versus a cold day in Clermont.
Yeah. Jared, playing at the Fortress, the Marcel Michelin, which, I mean, we all watched Clermont miss not lose a game in what, 40 something. So it was in 3 seasons they didn't lose a game at home in all competitions. Massive for the Stormers, but where did it go wrong for the Cape Town side?
Yeah, I think they sort of just got caught up in the atmosphere of the Marcel Michelin, and sort of everything when small things went wrong, it sort of snowballed for them. So yeah, I think if the Stormers didn't have Deon Fourie on the pitch, they would have copped quite a bit of a hard in the second half. I thought he had a great game,
what a game,
particularly in the first half. And then he saved 2 tries in the first half for the Stormers. No, 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. So yeah, what's that, an extra 14 points? And then you're looking at a 38-14 walloping instead of a 24-14.
And 4 turnovers.
I think Tyler's right. I think
4 turnovers is also insane.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think he made them all in the first half.
and he was bullying Nakalevu. And I mean, Shaun, you've seen quite a bit of Nakalevu over the years. He is a beast of a man. And
he's a giant.
Deon Fourie just pickpocketed him straight off one of the lineouts. Clermont threw the ball to him, came charging up, and Deon Fourie just stole the ball from him. And yeah, so I think Tyler's right. I think Manie Lebok will learn a lot from that. I think a lot of the Stormers players will learn from that game. It's such an imposing place to go to, and it's almost like, I was trying to think how you compare it to other teams, and I would say one of the closest things you could go to is playing the All Blacks at Eden Park. There's an aura around it. Even when the All Blacks are crap, they play well at home at Eden Park. Clermont, no matter what team's going out there, are bloody difficult to beat at home. And they also, Jono Gibbs coach side.
Especially in the Champions Cup.
Yeah, any Jono Gibbs team is a good team. Rog gets all the plaudits about La Rochelle, but all the hard graft and groundwork was laid by Jono Gibbs. And the season after he leaves, they go and win the Champions Cup. A lot of that work is his. So, Clermont are on a mission to win the Champions Cup by 2025, and with Gibbs there, and they've just signed that Peter Gassuakula. They're going to be a force in the next few years, I reckon.
Yeah. Now, there was a late change for the Stormers. Damien Willemse was playing at 15. They moved him into 12 because Dan du Plessis pulled out. And then they started Clayton Blommetjies. Now, when I saw that happen, I was like, well, there's really no worries there. Clayton Blommetjies has had a good season. But unfortunately, Lubbock, Willemse, and Blommetjies, which everything revolves around in the back line, just were a little bit stop-start. So the game, the aura around it, playing in France, the opposition, the Champions Cup, and possibly the temperature just kind of maybe just really hurt the guys a little bit. But I thought someone who I've been quite heavy on in terms of abuse and outspoken about his form, who is actually fighting back a little bit, is Herschel Jantjies.
Yeah, I thought he had a decent game. No, I really do. I thought it was decent. It's one of those games where you can see he's trying to get back into form, but he still isn't. I thought he looked a bit sharper. I think the standout for me was Morat. Between him, Fourie was the real standout, but Morat was the other guy that was pretty decent. And thought Ruan Null had a pretty decent game as well. But yeah, you can see things are coming, getting there for Yankees. He's still trying to force it a bit, I think, and yeah, eventually it will come good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thala.
Yes. Just looking at the stats, just seeing the dominance that Clermont had in the second half. 63% possession in the second half and 77% territory. So, I mean, that shows that, not a good or not a well-managed game by, I think, the Stormers there. And obviously that goes on the forwards, maybe not securing ball where they can. And obviously to the decision makers, 9, 10, 12, and 15, not quite putting them in the right areas. So it's very difficult to win games like that. Even we know how the Stormers like to play from counterattack and they have a strong defense, they back themselves, but this is going too much over the line. And then, I think also another thing from the stats that's quite clear is France, just from a Clermont perspective, France needs to make, a bit of room for Alivateri Raka. I think he needs to come in as the number 11. Instead of playing Mofana there as a makeshift wing, I think he needs to get his opportunity soon.
You've just forgotten about Villiers, that's all, Thala. You just haven't seen him play, and because he's injured, man.
No.
That's the only thing.
Of course,
yeah.
Villiers definitely still.
I don't see why.
Go on, Jared.
Like I get what you're saying, but like you can only have one lazy winger in your team, and like they've got Peno. Like put in Raka there as well.
That guy.
I think putting Raka in there, you just asking for crap. Like he doesn't. I don't think he wants to defend. So like he didn't have much defensive work to do against the Stormers, and like put him against somebody like Kurtley Aronson, he's just going to have a field day. So. I get what you're saying with when you look at his stats and you see how he like dominates with his carries and stuff like that. But no, for me, he doesn't want to defend, and test wingers need to defend, and I think that's his downfall all the time.
Gents, quick tap. Stormers rating out of 10. Jared?
With Dion Fourie 7, without Dion Fourie 6.
Sheesh, does he only add 1, eh? Oof. Thala?
4. I think, the first sort of 25 minutes was great. Obviously they went into a big lead, but yeah, losing a game like that, it's obviously a good lesson, but yeah, it's not, Clermont's not been really that good in the top 14. So it's a bit of a concern. So they'll have to obviously lift up their game if they face other French teams away from home later.
Cool. I would have given, I want to give them a 5. So I think you and I are probably on the same page. Okay. Wrapping up the Stormers. Let's get into the final one. Jake White and the Bulls got a nice win at home against Lyon. Jake White surprised all of us. Well, let me rephrase that. It surprised me with the side that he named. Quite a lot of youngsters in it. But he has unearthed some talent. And one of those talented players is at 9. Van der Linde had an incredible game, got man of the match. The other is on the right wing, Novuka. Jared, your thoughts on the Bulls? And obviously we know Jake White has played, he's coached in the Champions Cup when he was at Montpellier. He knows how this tournament works. He has very, very shrewdly gone around building up his squad. We knew he was going to do it, but he's starting to bring players in and work players that we haven't even been familiar with. And he's putting them in Champions Cup games to start, and they're performing. Does Jake have what it takes? And has he put the right stuff in place for the Bulls to go deep, deep, deep in the Champions Cup this year?
I thought you were going to throw me the question that can the Bulls win the Champions Cup, and that would have been a lot easier. But I think they can definitely go deep. You never want to. You don't want to ignore a team that has Mornay Stain in it. We can always just remember that. So yeah, it was a master stroke. Now we can say it was a master stroke having hindsight, and that the Bulls actually won. But it's an incredible result for the Bulls. That Lyon side was quite heavily changed, but it was still a decent Lyon team that probably should have beaten the Bulls. So yeah, hats off to Jake. I think the Bulls can go deep into the competition, but they will definitely need some of their bigger players back. And yeah, the good thing is that Jake realizes he has to stretch his squad and make sure that his depth is sorted to go deep in both competitions, and he seems to be doing that the right way.
Did you guys hear this? I saw AP Kronya tweeted about this earlier. Apparently, Jake White said that South African teams won't be able to host knockout games from the quarterfinal onwards. I didn't know that this was a rule. I'm quite surprised by that. I don't know if it's just almost like a logistical thing because of obviously the up and down the travel. But did anyone else know about this? Can someone confirm this? Because Jake White basically said that like it's almost unrealistic to have a South African team win the Champions Cup knowing that they have to play quarterfinal, semifinal, and final in Europe.
Jared, I'm going to send that straight to you, mate. Because I
don't know. But if Jake is saying it, then it's probably true. But who knows? Jake could also be saying that because I know he's a big. He doesn't like this whole traveling thing too much because they keep flying through Doha, and I know he's not happy about that.
Well, they need to chat to their management at the Bulls and make it not go through Doha.
It's a sponsorship thing. It's a sponsorship thing, so they have to go.
It's fine, yeah. Sponsor us. Oh, listen, you're not performing. We're pulling the sponsorship. Well, if you stop flying us all around the world every time we play a game, maybe we'll perform better. There we go.
Apparently travel's done. I just saw, there's a bit of conversation about it on Twitter. Apparently travel is funded by SA Rugby, and obviously, we're not really cash flush at the moment. So SA Rugby is basically making them go through Doha. It's obviously cheaper. We have the sponsorship with Qatar Airways in the URC. But yeah, it means that they have to take almost a day to travel up and down from Europe. So yeah, it's not going to change up until, number one, I think we still aren't getting like our fair share of the URC money, apparently. Apparently getting only a third of that. So until those finances change, then there'll be more money for traveling, etc., etc. And yeah, I think this is also part of the reason why in the Champions Cup, they've just decided to rather have those knockout games away from home. But yeah, I think it's a conversation for another day, but we'll have to think about ways of maybe just, if we have teams playing each other in the pool stage, they have to all play their South African games at one time and then play all the European games at one time or something like
that. Yeah. Another talking point, there were quite a few. So, but big one for me is Lizo Koboka's 100th game for the Bulls. And I tell you what, I cannot wait for him to get back on form again because I'm a massive fan. And he just missed out on the 2019 World Cup squad. But not just as in it was a tough call, just as in he was good enough to go to the World Cup, but just had two absolute beasts in front of him. So after the injury, he hasn't quite got back, and I thought we might see a little bit more of him in 2019 and 2020, but it just wasn't the case. But yeah, 100 games for the Bulls, eh? Absolute legend human being, I'm told.
Yeah, fair play to him. And Shaun, I agree with you. I hope he gets back to his best because when he is at his best, he's a hell of a loose head. So, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, just picking up on what Jared said earlier, this is not a bad second, almost third team for the Bulls as well. I mean, I had my complaints seeing the team on Friday because I was a bit, it was like it's a big risk, obviously, playing like your second team at home. You try to get at least the 2 wins at home out of the 4 so you can qualify for the last 16 and hopefully have home ground advantage. But yeah, I think some good performances. There's some players obviously coming back like Jacques Duplessis, and he had a decent but a quiet game. But yeah, I think there's also still enough experience in that team, and they're going with pretty much the same squad for the Exeter game on Saturday. That they should hopefully.
That's going to be hard.
They won't win, or I'd be very surprised if they do. But yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, I think they definitely got what they wanted out of it by exposing some youngsters, by obviously getting the win as well, which gives them a bit of flexibility for the competition. So if they get a bonus point in Sandy Park and they get one more win when Exeter comes to Pretoria in January, then they're qualified and probably near the top top 8 qualifiers to get a last 16, a home game in the last 16.
Yeah. Bulls rating out of 10, quick tap, Jared.
Oof, I'm also going to go high with this one. I'll go an 8 as well. For a young team to produce that against the Challenge Cup champions, we must just remember that. I think it's a great result. And also just a word for Anu Buerta, who scored the an 8-man's dream try, chipping over the top from a scrum. So that was great to see as well.
Didn't chip. He shinned it. He shinned it over.
No, that's fine. Doesn't matter. It still worked. So
I was hosing myself.
Yeah, there's some real promise in that. Some of those Bulls youngsters. You spoke about Van der Linde. I hear good things about Ludwig as well. I'm quite a fan of Steenkamp and Ace as well. They're big, hard boys. So I think it's definitely a decent Bull squad overall.
Yeah. Thala, out of 10?
Yeah, I think you can give it a 8 as well. I'll give it an 8 as well. Also, it wasn't like a under strength Leon. I thought they'd rest a lot more players than they did. I mean, you have Dylan Crotano who made it. Badu played at fullback with Ninashvili injured. Fletcher Smith was at 10. It had a lot of the usual characters in their team, and they played quite well. Some of the key players. Ethan Dumortier is also someone that I think Sam Lon has been highlighting. He has a thread of almost like a Christmas advent calendar of different things that he focuses on for the 25 days up to Christmas, and he was focusing on Dumortier and his ability at wing. So, and obviously he scored a try. So very good performance against a decently strengthened French team. So I think if I was Jake White or a Bulls fan, I'd definitely take that.
Okay, I was going to go for a 7, but I'll definitely jump on an 8 as well. Like you guys did, Jared.
Great stuff. No, I don't know if you guys saw it as well, but there's that one French online rugby site that pretty much questioned whether Liam Coltman is actually a New Zealander because he just looks too Georgian, which I quite enjoyed.
That.
Yeah.
That was some great banter. Okay, that wraps up the South Africans. We'll go through briefly having a quick look at the rest of the results. So on Friday night in the opening game, London Irish lost narrowly to Montpellier, but this is after London Irish Agustin Creevy got red carded after half an hour. So incredible performance by London Irish. And Montpellier ran out 27-32 winners. Big one on Saturday, Racing 92, got taught a lesson in rugby by Leinster at home. So Racing lost at home 10-42 to Leinster, which I didn't see coming. Racing want to think that they're contenders, but putting performances like that in is not ideal. Gloucester
Poor
won at
Cooks.
home to poor Cooks. Yeah, that's why he's not on the pod, man. We know how it goes. Gloucester beat Bordeaux at home 22-17. Gloucester very quietly putting through some great performances, really building up quite nicely. Quite an interesting few derbies going to be in that area of the world with Bath on the up, Bristol hoping to get better. So that's quite something. La Rochelle really put the hammer down against Saints. Didn't see that coming. 46-12 win for La Rochelle, but I thought Saints would probably put a little bit more in. But yeah, early days though. Castres lost to Exeter at home with Rory Cockett coming out of retirement. He was named in the squad and he was named on the bench. Cockett came out of retirement because of a few injuries. He's been, since his retirement last year, has been coaching. But 12-27, Exeter Chiefs won. Decent result for them. I still think Chiefs are not quite what they were from a couple of years back. So I still think they're up for the taking. And then Sunday, things wrapped up. And this by far for me, the performance of the weekend, without a shadow of a doubt. But Sale Sharks beating Ulster 39-0. Can you believe it? Thala, Jared, you guys watch any of that? We might as well talk about it like a South African game because all the big boys that performed were all South African on the day. And Rob de Preer put in another brilliant performance at 10 and as captain. But yeah, a lot of guys. Akafana Mava beat more players than there were players on the field, I think. I think he was 6 players beaten for the day. But a flippant standout performance by Sale. Jared?
Yeah, I didn't actually watch the game, but I've seen a lot of Rob de Preer talk all around. So I also heard that he pretty much had something to do with every single try that they scored. So yeah, on face value, he had a hell of a game from what I hear, and I'm surprised you didn't lead with that, Shaun, after running your de Preer brigade most of the season.
Well, listen, he has been playing well enough that he deserves to be in the conversation. And I know people are still like, the only thing that can think about him is how he played when we lost to Wales in 300 years ago. So it's really hard to change people's perception. I just want people to think that he needs to be in the conversation. You don't perform in the Premiership for a full season and then go and do this in the Champions Cup against Ulster and shit. Like, it's just one of those things. Needs to be in the conversation. He's not going to be in the conversation because Manny Libbok's in the mix. But I believe both of them can still be in the conversation, And then the other game, Saracens Edinburgh. Thala, my bad. Sorry, my man. What did you want to add?
No, I can maybe just pick it up from there. Just a very quick point about my adopted Irish team, Ulster. Look at their meters gained from their inside backs. Nathan Doak, they scrum off, 0 meters. Billy Burns, they fly off, 0 meters. Stuart McCloskey, their inside centre and the big ball carrier, 2 meters or 4 carries. James Hume, obviously 2 meters, that's crazy. Hume, who's obviously very highly rated outside centre, 3 meters. Like, yeah, that's not going to win you any games.
And the big thing though is like I'm just going to quickly pull up this team, but I mean they were up against. Let's see who they're up against. Now, for the life of me, I can't think. So Rob de Preer was playing a 10. Now, why can I not find this team sheet? But if you look at that, Rob de Preer was a 10. So
Tuilagi, Sam James. So it was Tomo Flaherty, Tuilagi, Sam James, Aaron Reed, and Joe Carpenter. Another name to watch out for, just by the way. Carpenter.
The 10, 12, 13, those are big guys. So I can see totally how Burns, McCloskey, and Hume didn't make yards. Tuilagi went off. I honestly thought it was a broken jaw. That was a crazy, crazy, crazy tackle. Should have been a red card. Was cited. But yeah, a tough day for Ulster. The men wearing the chappies outfits. Can I tell you something hilarious? Yesterday I was driving and I saw a bus shelter advertising of chappies, and I couldn't stop to take a photo. But I want to take that photo. I'll go on Tuesday and get it. Hopefully I'll see it again, and I'll send it to all of our friends throughout the world, and they can have a look at what we talk about when we say the chappies is they look like a chappies outfit. Saracens beat Edinburgh 30-26. I thought Saracens would probably put a little bit more on them, but Edinburgh put in a massive shot. Munster
Did you
versus
hear
Toulouse.
Farrell speak after the game, though? He was pretty blunt about it. Asked him about the team's performance, and he said, well, pretty average, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not good enough for Saracens. I didn't watch the game. Munster Toulouse. I tell you, Munster were working it bloody hard, but I will say something. I'm very quiet around the Antoine Dupont, and he's like the greatest ever. But Antoine Dupont was at the heart of everything, defensively, on attack, and everything. He kept Toulouse in the game when they were under pressure, and then they came back to win it. So Munster 13, Toulouse 8 in the mistiest of mist ever. Game nearly called off.
Yeah.
And then the final game of the weekend, Ospreys lost narrowly at home to Leicester Tigers, 17-23. Again, I thought Tigers would probably put a bit more on the mix. But yeah, Jared, a little bit. You want to wrap up the Champions Cup before I go into the fixtures?
Yeah, I think you touched on pretty much all of it. The thing on Dupont, I think, funny enough, I think he actually plays better for Toulouse than he does for France, which that sounds weird to say. He's a great player, but he just seems to like Toulouse is sort of his team kind of thing, and France is like a squad effort, if I can put it like that. I don't know, it sort of feels like that to me. I think Toulouse just sort of got the muscle up front, and Munster could only hang on for so long, and they sort of they're on an upward trajectory, and it's just not working out for them just yet. Yeah, and then I think you're pretty spot on with Saracens, not good enough. And yeah, Anthony Watson's try to win it for Leicester Tigers, man. They say that, I think it was off his left foot that he stepped. That was the foot that he had the Achilles injury. So it's great to see him back and firing for them. And yeah, I think once Steve Borthwick gets his hands on that England team, he will definitely be back and firing at fullback.
Yeah, that was quite something. In closing, we're going to go quickly through the Challenge Cup, the South African sides. As Jared mentioned, it was close but no cigar for Lions at home on Saturday against Dragons, 31 all. Good effort by Dragons, to be fair. And then one of the big results of the weekend for me is Cheetahs winning away at Pau in France. I thought that was a great result. A little bit of argy-bargy after the game. Jared, you reckon their coach is going to cop a hefty ban? I mean, he did grab the referee's shoulder. They're looking at it quite seriously. It could be a 40-week ban, they're talking.
Yeah, I think the lower entry point is 24 weeks. And so yeah, pretty much it should go without saying that you shouldn't be grabbing a referee after a match, regardless of the result or how hard you grab him or anything. So yeah, he pretty much grabbed the referee, trying to have a chat with him. The referee pulled his arm away, and I think it was AP that put it out and said he had the referee had serious "don't touch me on my studio" vibes about it. And yeah, not a great viewing for rugby overall, and hopefully a big ban is slapped on him. So yeah, onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
It was a tense finish for both teams. Power felt like they got the hard end of the calls. I thought they were pretty spot on by the referee. They were marginal calls, like they were tight, but I think he got them right. So yeah, in the moment that can get ugly, but yeah, it's disappointing it did go that way.
Yeah. Okay, quick little look through the weekend's fixtures. Jared, I'm going to go through them, and then I want you to tell me your matchup of the weekend. But on Friday night, we got Leinster versus Gloucester. I think that's going to be one-way traffic. Bordeaux versus Sharks in France. Could be a goodie. Exeter versus Bulls. We spoke about that. Great game on Saturday to start things off. Edinburgh Castres. Lyon Saracens. I'm looking forward to seeing what Saracens bring. They're gonna have to lay it down. Didn't Saracens lose to Lyon last year? No, I can't remember. Leicester Tigers versus Clermont. That should be good, but an away game for Clermont. Ulster versus La Rochelle. Now that's going to be interesting, especially after Ulster's performance and La Rochelle's performance, but again away. Stormers at home to London Irish. Could be interesting considering how London Irish put the game did on Friday. Saturday finishing up with Montpellier versus Ospreys. Sunday, Saints versus Munster. Toulouse versus Sale. There's possibly the game of the weekend for me. And then possibly another game of the weekend is Harlequins versus Racing 92 to wrap things up. So we've got a great Sunday ahead. Jared, just quickly before my laptop dies, we're out of power on my side of the world. What's your game of the weekend?
I think I'm going to go Sunday's game, Harlequins versus Racing 92. I just think it might be an entertaining one. Like you said, there's a lot of great matchups throughout the weekend. On Saturday, I'll pick one out as well. I'm going to say Leicester Tigers versus Clermont, two sides that are European giants going head to head and both looking to revive and come back to their old glory days. And Friday, I'll also say Leinster versus Gloucester.
Well, Leinster Gloucester, I think it's going to be one-way traffic. I do really think so. That I think Gloucester will put up a fight. But I'm looking forward to Leicester versus Clermont. I think that'll be one-way traffic as well. I think Clermont will crumble. And then Quins Racing is going to be flipping crackerjack. Those last two games on Sunday are going to be absolutely world-class. Gents, Thala, unfortunately, we lost him. So he did send us a message and he says goodbye to everybody. Jared, thank you so much. Absolutely great chatting to you again. But that wraps up. Sorry, mate. Sorry. That wraps up a Rugby Bits pod that everyone's been waiting for and we've been dying to deliver. And hopefully we'll be back on the airwaves a little bit more frequently. Hopefully for some bigger and better things. But thanks to everyone, Jared. All the best in the cold weather in the UK. And here's to another South African great performance this weekend in Europe.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun.